was so cool. I haven't done it that way before.
I know. First.
I'm here for you. It sounds like an ad, though.
It does.
If you're having depression, anxiety, or just mental chaos, always remember, I'm here for you. I'm telling you.
That was good.
Smash.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Small Talk Tuesday.
And I'm on this one still. I thought it was kind of like, you know, like a guest random once in a while, but
No, you're the frequent co-host. I am the host, Jennifer Razon, and the frequent co-host of today is
Ian Hawk, I'm here.
Yeah.
Presente. I'm ready.
So yeah, I figured this one would be a good separate episode because I've actually gotten this question a couple times on my vlogs when I'm doing my running. It is if I could give a couple beginner tips in terms of people who've started running. It's good. That's a good one, you know, because
Yeah, it's super interesting because I think like most people, I mean, I played high school sports and we had to run all the time. So there's something about physical education in America. Like my children hate PE because they have to run. And I think it's because we just have this you know, it always comes out, I can't breathe, you know, my stomach hurts from running. That we just have this inherent hate for running when, you know, I think it is a beautiful experience. Do you feel that? Was that the way for you when you were younger?
yeah, sort of.
Oh, you loved it when you were younger?
Because I didn't have to do all the other subjects. I was like, playtime.
So you liked running when you were younger?
Not really. I mean, I just did it because I didn't have to sit down. Like I was like your average like D student growing up. I didn't like. I wasn't always like. I hated math. Didn't like science as much. PE, sure. Media class, sure.
Yeah.
But as long as I don't know, I guess like physical activities, kind of.
You're okay with?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I read the necessity for sports, but then, yeah, in my late 20s, I think I was becoming a new dad, like at 30. But like in my late 20s, it was like, I want to be a dad, but I busted my shoulder lifting weights. So it's like, okay, I'll start running. And then, you know, there's a period where you're running, and then you get the bug. So when you think about beginning to run, what are some things that come to you when you think about it?
Well, if I'm recalling when I started running, you know, it's one of the things I was pushing myself a little too hard. Mentioned before, like I would see all the runners who've already been running and be like, I want to do that. I want to be that speed. I want to be that fast. But then you realize like it doesn't happen that quick. So it's one of those things like where I had to build up to it. Yeah. Absolutely.
And do you feel like I mean, when you first start running, though, it's not really about the intention is not to run marathons, right? It kind of comes later. Is that true? For me, it was. I didn't think about
definitely
marathons.
came later for me.
Later.
How, like for you, it wasn't right away.
No, I think if we're talking about beginning to run, I think two things that really kind of got me hooked was I committed to just buying a new pair of sneakers. Buying new running shoes was, I don't know, it was a commitment, right? Because you're spending money so that you have a quality shoe. And I think that just made me feel like, hey, if I have these shoes, I could run. And the second one was like, you know, going to the grocery store or, you know, drugstore and buying a running magazine. And I think looking at the running magazine, you're just to be like, hey, I think it was like, hey, how to train for a marathon, how to taper properly or something on the cover.
Yeah.
And then I saw the chart of like, oh, you can actually run this marathon. There was a chart. But I think it's also seeing all the photos of all the marathons. People are like, you know, go run here, go run in Tennessee, run in Disneyland, whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
And you go, maybe not. Is buying a new pair of sneakers part of your beginning or no?
Not really.
Because you were running around your coffee table barefoot?
Pretty much. I think for me is when I was a walker first and foremost. I love walking. But I think it's almost the same as you. It's like when I bought my first like kind of official running shoes, and I was like, okay, I can get into this. But
So the running shoes.
yeah.
And did you already think about running a marathon when you started, or it's not even a thing, right?
No, it wasn't something that I thought about when I did that.
I just wanted to run for distance where I wasn't completely out of breath. Because you realize, like, I used to do a thing where when I started running, you run too fast.
Yeah.
I was in a marathon especially, but when you're running on just like a normal day, running too fast in the beginning because you're like, all right, I'm stepping out of the house. Now I'm playing Eminem's Lose Yourself. And so the first, 4 minutes, I'm like, not a sprint, but you're like, dude, I'm inspired by the music, but then you're like, dude, this is horrible. Like, I have nowhere to go.
Right.
And so I think when you're beginning, it's always about learn how to run real slow so that, I don't know if you had that tip, like running slow enough where you can have a conversation with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm kind of like, I don't like to run with people usually, just by myself. But at that tempo,
yeah,
which means that you're actually breathing at a normal level.
Yeah.
And the tempo is pretty slow.
Definitely. Right? Definitely starting out slow when you're starting out because, like I said before, you're not going to be as fast as the people who've been running for months or even years when you start out. I mean, and the thing I learned, like you and I kind of learned over time, is like also it's okay to walk when you have to.
Yeah. You nailed it. It's really huge because I think the first 4 or 5 years of running, I just did not walk. Even if I was tired, I'm like slow running. Because if I'm a runner, we don't walk. But really, running is...
It looks like you're hopping instead of actually running.
Yeah, skipping or something. But the truth is, like, walking is a miracle. Every step is a miracle. Like, every step is really special, especially... If you walk and you actually do a thing where you're heel toe, but your toes stretch out, you touch the ground. The idea is that, walking is the way. That's, in the evolution of, if you believe in the evolution of like monkey to man, It's not like the monkey comes up and then all of a sudden he's running.
Yeah.
He's walking. So yeah, that would be a big tip, right? The idea is like run the best you can. And when you get tired, just walk. Yeah.
Because usually when I did that, I was like, ugh, walking. Ugh. But
weak.
Yeah.
Walking for the weak.
And then I learned, like, okay, it's okay to walk because you don't necessarily lose whatever pace you're trying to go for or whatever time you're trying to go for. I mean, when you start running, you actually do catch up in terms of whatever your goal is for that moment. So it's okay. Catch your breath and then however many seconds you need to, then get back into it. And then you'll feel fine afterwards. I will say, though, a blessing in disguise is if you're actually running on the street and you stop at a stoplight and it turns red, you're like, yes.
All right, sub-question. When you come to a light, it's like red, you're like, oh, yeah. What do you do? A, you stretch. B, you run in place. Or C, you just lay down on the ground.
I just stop.
You stop?
I stop. It's like there's no point because you're not really. Look, technically a stoplight is like what 30 seconds to 60 seconds at most. You're not gonna lose your momentum for that many long. Yeah, and I've seen runners that actually like they kind of jog in place. I was like,
it's corny.
I don't like doing that.
It's corny, right? You're like, dude, seriously, what are you doing? I'm the opposite though. I go full yoga. I don't do I don't do like vinyasa.
The stretches.
But yeah, I'm like warrior posing. Touching my toes, putting my leg up on a rock, a wall. I'm like, yeah, full stretch. I'm stretched.
People in the cars going, who's that guy?
I'm thinking more like when they drive by, they go like, who's that guy? You hear the difference? Like, tall glass of water, you. Oh, look at how stretchy he is. Yeah.
Wait, to be perfect.
I stretch and I'm here for you. I'm definitely here for you.
Yeah, but yeah, I stop.
Stop?
Yeah. I love catching my breath on stoplights.
Yeah. Beginner's tip. I used to be, most of my life was a mouth breather. I think it's through yoga especially, but running is where you realize, yeah, if you can get that intake from the nose and out through the mouth, it's big. It's a big step.
Yeah, that's one thing I've kind of adjusted to in the last couple of years, is kind of like breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Like for me, it's like 3 seconds in, 2 seconds out, kind of like odd numbers. Because especially when you're running, I've noticed, or I've kind of heard this too, is like when you're stepping down, you're putting pressure on your hips. So when you inhale and exhale, your step is on alternating hips when you breathe. So you're not putting as much pressure when you're like stepping down.
You're super smart. That's like science stuff.
Right?
I thought you didn't like science in school.
I didn't, but
Now
when it comes
you
to
realize.
things, well, when it comes to certain things, I mean,
Remember when you're young, you're like, math sucks. What am I going to use in my life? Cut to now, I'm like, oh man, I need a
maths.
calculator.
Maths.
This is hard. Math is hard. Same with science, yeah. Breathing's huge. It really kind of it keeps it. There's a point where, I mean, obviously, running, there's a way to run to the tempo of music. I think music to me is like, it's kind of essential for me, even though I run without music. Music, because you can run to the beat, but I think it's more, if you run without music, you will sync to your breath.
Right.
Your feet and your breath will connect and sync.
And the thing is, do you breathe through your stomach? Because I've kind of started doing that, and I've noticed that I've actually inhale more and kind of a little bit better in terms of when I'm running.
I just thought about it. Yeah, I breathe from the belly. It's all belly. Yeah, same with meditation and yoga. Is you think you're breathing in your chest, but it's really filling up your belly to the point where, it's like a little balloon. And slowly exhale.
And then all of a sudden it becomes like second nature, and you don't really notice you're actually doing it
At all. No. It's weird how the body, I think for beginner runners, they should get excited because it's a process of, that sounds a little bit woo-woo, but it's a process. Running's a process of getting to know yourself. Because, there was a time when I trained for the 2011 marathon, full marathon, 26.2. And I would go to Griffith Park at 4:35 in the morning and run 13 and 17 miles before going to work. It was really challenging because I realized, like, if I got there and I was in a bad mood, you know what I mean? You're just in a bad mood. I'm going to be in a bad mood for many, many miles. And so and then sometimes you'll burn it off. But I think, the tempo and tone and pace are really important. So the idea is, the mentality of going into running is really try to get out of your head and, step into the present.
Nice. Yeah.
What are some other things that you do for beginning runners that you think about?
Proper shoes.
Shoes is everything. I gotta tell you.
That is the number one thing that should be the most important. Get proper fitted shoes. General rule that I've learned is to get one full size up. It's because, our feet tend to swell when we're doing activities.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not just for pregnant women.
No.
Yeah, I remember dropping some cash, and it was, I was still kind of broke as a young filmmaker, but yeah, dropping $100+ on a sneaker seems crazy at times, but especially for a running shoe. But it makes a huge difference, and I highly recommend going to a running shop.
Yeah.
There's so many good running shops because of, you need to know if you pronate, if
Exactly.
your foot's going to peel in. It's after so many miles, it's going to hurt. You're gonna feel it.
Exactly. I mean, like you and I, our feet pronate. We've talked about this before, and we know how it can affect our walking stance.
Yeah, because it doesn't impact your walking. You'll start to feel in your knees,
In your
in your hips, in your back, and your neck.
Oh,
It's all
I feel it in my back for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Definitely get proper fitted running shoes. And the good thing is that, all the running shops out there, they're super awesome. I mean, they'll really help you out to get the right fit for you and make sure that, you're not going to injure yourself with just wearing the shoe.
Especially if they drop a hundo on shoes, they're going to help you for sure. So don't just go in there and buy them, like make them work for you,
Exactly.
Have you ever been to a running store where they served you like a champagne cocktail while you tried on shoes?
I would love that.
I know, me too. That's never happened, but
Take one of those fancy
yeah, it's like, when you go to a
on a tray.
medi-pedi, not that I get a medi-pedi done very often, but I've seen it done where they hand you a drink, you're relaxing. I think this might be the new wave of running, right?
That would be a good way to entice people to come in and buy, running shoes.
That's true. Let's talk about brands of shoes. 'Cause I remember when I bought a Bowerman, I remember I got a Nike Bowerman with my first shoe, and I loved it. I ran the heck out of it, and then I tried to Hoka for a little bit. A little clunky. I like it, but not the prettiest. It's kind of ugly.
Yeah.
I'm an Asics dude.
I have Asics. My
about
current
you?
ones right now are Asics.
Okay.
And then my previous ones were Brooks, because those are the only two that I found that fit my feet properly.
Because you have small feet.
Well, that plus I also they're like kind of the special like support
You have
shoes.
bunions?
No, I never had bunions.
Teasing.
Luckily, whew. But no, they're the support shoes that for people who pronate.
Yeah, I think Ace is a good play.
Yeah,
I think it's a really good play.
yeah. I've had nothing but good experiences with it. So if anybody out there has feet that pronate over pronate, then
Small Talk Tuesday is brought to you by Asics.
you hear that? You hear that, guys?
Hey,
hint.
Sponsored.
Who knows? Maybe one day.
You know what? Anything is possible.
Anything
is possible.
Hey friends, Jen here. As you may know, I am running the LA Marathon on March 17th, 2024, and I am running it for charity. City of Hope, to be in fact. They are an amazing organization and hospital dedicated in research and making sure there's advancements in treatments in cancer and diabetes. My co-host Ian was treated there many years ago for acute myeloid leukemia, and there he received his treatments as well as his bone marrow transplant. I have since then met so many staff members as well as patients who have their treatments there, and it's amazing how much work they put into it. So this is why I'm running the marathon. I am running for them. And if you'd like to donate, please go to the website ourhope.cityofhope.org/5footrunning2024. Again, that's ourhope.cityofhope.org/5footrunning2024. There you will find all the information you need for why I'm running, as well as to, of course, donate. And as of February 18th, the current total is at 1,360. So if you'd like to donate today, go to the following website, ourhope.cityofhope.org/5footrunning2024. Every little bit helps, and your contribution in donating and even sharing this really does make an impact. And now back to our small talk. Next tip, stretching.
Oh, huge.
Before and after runs.
Yeah.
Definitely stretching.
Just do
Especially as you get older, you have to.
Yeah, we hold a lot of pressure. I mean, I hold a lot of stress in our joints.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really important. Like I used to just, you're in 20s, you get up and just go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go, going out the door. But take a little prep time, and just stretch it out. Get the body warm, hit the road.
Yep.
It's a good feeling. What about clothing? I'm kind of like, I'm really sensitive about clothing, whether it be socks or shorts that,
Definitely clothing, you want to be comfortable. People have their preferences of just wearing like a regular t-shirt or some regular like gym shorts. But I mean, for me, I like running shorts, like kind of the quarter, like kind of looks like biker shorts, kind of.
With the built-in underwear?
No.
Oh, for me, yeah.
You like them?
Yeah, because I've had it where you run with shorts and just regular underwear, and then it becomes the Murph run. You're just pulling the Murph. Every 17 steps, you're like, I don't care if people see me, I'm pulling out my Murph. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So Ace
Luckily,
has some good shorts for those.
The shorts I have, no problem with that whatsoever.
Yeah.
I also do running tights.
Yeah, I don't look good in them, but they feel good.
They feel good.
Keep you warm. Yeah. Because running in sweats is weird. It's really like long pants. Gross.
I don't know how people can do that.
Ugh, what's wrong with those people?
It's like, what? Ew.
Yeah, they must be walkers. Just kidding. Socks.
You got to be
Huge for me.
comfortable.
Socks are huge too.
Usually cotton for me.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no. I don't know what they are. I think they're merino wool ones are nice, actually. But whatever the ones I get from like, the store, the running shop, they have. I think they are cotton, but they're like the compression type.
Yeah, I just think it's important. Like, you think normal socks are fine, but I think if you're doing long runs, eventually it's important to, just suited and booted, ready to go. It's really important. What other tips? Do you eat before you run or no?
Yes and no. For shorter runs, like things that are like 5Ks, less than that, 5 to 6Ks, I'm okay with not eating before I run. But anything above that, I will have like a piece of toast with something or like a Rice Krispie treat. Because you need that sugar in your system.
You eat Rice Krispie treats before you run?
I do. Well, I just started to recently. I heard it's actually pretty nice, so I started experimenting with it. And it's actually pretty nice.
Well, yeah. Rice Krispie treats are amazing.
They are. But they're
I've
actually
never
good.
considered for running.
They're a good source of sugar.
You need sugar before you run?
And also, I heard this tip too, that a pinch of pink Himalayan salt before your run will give you kind of like the electrolytes before you start. And I was like, that's an interesting thing.
You have the research on that?
Sort of. I have these like little salt candies, so I started taking them. But I have read up on pink Himalayan salt. But
so you sure you
don't quote me on that.
You want to tell the audience that you like to basically,
eat salt,
sugar and salt before you go on runs?
It's really what it is. Really, that makes you energized for a run.
Maybe that's why you're faster than me. I typically sit with oatmeal, yogurt, or banana.
I can't do oatmeal.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Banana once in a while for me, yes. But then after the run, then definitely I have like a smoothie and like something else.
What about post run?
Post run, usually have like an English muffin, toasted English muffin with a little butter.
I just would say to runners, like, if you run, make sure you eat, after, because
you need that energy back.
You need the calories. Otherwise, you're that guy that smells like body odor, and you're grumpy. You're hangry.
Oh,
no one likes that.
No one wants to be hangry. Come on.
No one likes you.
That's the worst thing.
No, don't do that. It's mean.
I mean, like the mood coming off of that, you're like, ooh.
Mm-hmm. I kind of want to go run right now. Do you feel that way?
Well, I ran this morning, so I'm kind of done for the day.
Cocky.
You can still go.
Cocky. It's cold outside.
Hey, I ran at like between 7 and 7:30 this morning. It was like 40 degrees out.
Around your
Probably
table?
less than that.
Around your table?
No, outside today. Thank goodness.
Sorry, that's just too much for me. I want to talk about it every single episode.
It's fine.
This episode is sponsored by IKEA. No?
No. Well, I don't think. No, my table's not IKEA.
Coffee table. Still, though. They're like, we have this woman who runs around these IKEA tables and super popular. It's really good. Just figured it out.
Let me start a trend.
Do you do any kind of other CrossFit strengthening?
I do, at least twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
Before, I used to not do any kind of cross training because I was like, whatever.
It's important, though.
Yeah. And then realized over the last couple of years, it's like it helps balance out all the stress of running that you're putting your body through and help building kind of lean muscle to counterbalance all that. So, yeah, I've definitely been adding strength training. That's another important tip. Is like strength training is great to help.
Yeah, balance
it out.
Do you think it's do runners, beginning runners, how long before it's enjoyable?
Definitely give it a couple months. 3 to 6 months. At first, you're going to hate it for sure. Because you're that thought of like, going outside, running, blah, blah, blah. But over time, you realize like it does actually make you feel a little better.
It makes you feel a lot better.
Well, a lot, yeah. Runner's high. And also, for me, I find it to be meditative. It's kind of like my me time.
I feel like it's an addiction That's why I get it. Maybe it's how it's a personality. I just when I'm into something and into it, when you get into the elation of running, it feels like I'm just biting into a giant block of cheese. It's amazing. Is that a bad comparison to the runner's high? It's like biting a block of cheese. No? What do you think?
Not for me.
This episode is brought to you by Kraft. This is a sponsored episode.
But yeah, definitely give it a few months.
I was thinking just give it a couple of weeks. I think by week 2, I'm kind of like, and also I don't know about you start tracking.
Yeah.
When you start tracking in your notes, like I ran this day and this day and this day, you just kind of feel motivated.
But also your body will start to miss it if you stop.
Yeah, that's true.
I've noticed that like when I went on vacation last year, I was like, yeah.
If you take on months of off, you're like, yeah, I don't miss running. It's time to eat some cheese, some Himalayan salt, and Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah, I'll take the Rice Krispie treats.
That's really interesting that you eat the. I'm shocked.
I used to do also like fig bars once in a while.
Yeah, Fig Newton bars.
Yeah.
Wow, this will be back.
Usually, because that's like my mid like run snack for my long runs. Because you eat so many of the gels, so that's like a way for me to break up the whole eating so many gels on the run.
So, how would you motivate somebody who's what would be your slogan for those that are on the fence about running? What would you say?
I would say
one step at a time. Ew. Find a reason for running. What is the thing?
I don't know. You get to discover your neighborhood.
Whoa, that's deep.
Yeah, because look, a lot of us are either inside or we drive around cars. But with running, you kind of get to see your environment a little more if you think about it.
Oh, in detail. Yeah, you're right. Most of the time, if you drive a city and then you walk a city, it's 2 different experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that. So is it like expanding your world? Run, expand your...
That should be a slogan.
Expand your world.
Expand your world. Do it the SpongeBob way. Expand your world.
ASIC says, expand your world. One step at a time. Okay.
I definitely discovered a lot of things with running in my neighborhood, which is pretty cool. It's like, oh, I didn't know that existed. Now I know. So next time I stop by, it's there.
Yeah, it's funny when you run a neighborhood and you realize like how hungry you are. When you start running, you stop, you see a menu on the glass, you're kind of like, yeah, man, I'll come back here.
Yeah. There's one person I follow on Instagram, and she actually did something where she ran to a restaurant, had dinner there, and then just like Ubered back home.
Wow.
I was like, that's kind of a pretty good idea. It's like run to your favorite restaurant, have whatever food you're going to have, and then when you're done, just Uber home.
It's a major multitask, though.
Exactly.
My thing is like, I don't think I smell that much. Actually, I don't think I smell at all like after running. But there's some people that get the BO. I'm concerned that you would run to a restaurant and be like, sir, I'll take a table for one, and then sit down. And then
well, I don't think you'd run to like a sit down restaurant, kind of like a cafe type. Like you could order in and just eat it outside or something.
That's what you think. This girl that you talked about, I think she ate inside.
She probably ate inside.
So we invite you to go out today. Maybe listen to this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I do find that music, lastly, is that there are certain music cues. You will start to, like when you have a moment of runner's high, you'll be listening to a very specific track, and then it marks that track. Meaning, like in the future, you hear that track, you're like, dude, I remember when I was running. And I think there's certain songs like, I've run certain parts of the world and you're just running. It's so freeing, but it's like there's certain music cues that I remember about that day. It's super random. Do you think music is important for you or not really?
Oh yeah, it's important for me. Most of the time I do listen to music, but I'm also like I'm trying to be aware of my surroundings too, which is another tip. Is like be aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
So if you have like headphones, at least for me, I don't put it as loud, but I can still hear the tempo and the song, and it does help me out in terms of my running, my pace.
What kind of music?
A mix of pop, metal, Europop, indie, techno music.
Oof, 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 oof.
Yep.
You're doing 90s. You said 90s techno music right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm my current running kick.
Prodigy.
Prodigy, yes.
Fire.
I love Prodigy.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that too.
I got some that and Chemical Brothers and a bit of Daft Punk in there. Daft Punk is a must.
Those three, I mean, will take you some far miles.
Exactly. And then a little bit of Orbital just to cool down the tempo.
Yeah, cool down is really important to beginners as well, right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about that.
Cool downs, that'll help you bring your heart rate back down to normal.
So right towards the end, when you're done running, you don't just run to your car and hop in your car.
Definitely stretch it out a little bit.
But you're basically coming down to like when you finish a run, you walk another quarter mile, walk into your, to
bring down your heart rate and just make sure like you're chill before driving off. The last thing you need is your heart super pumping, just driving off, and then something happens. You don't want that to happen.
What do you think there are excuses for people too? Is like, I don't want to run because I have nowhere to run. What do you think about that?
Hey, if I could run around my coffee table, anybody could run.
Yeah, if you're an insane person, it can run around a coffee table. You can run anywhere.
Exactly.
I do like the energy of running streets. I don't mind going to stoplights, but I also think there is something to be said about spaces where there is no stopping, where you can kind of be in nature.
Exactly. One of the things I haven't done in a long time and I actually enjoy is a little bit of trail running. Because you're actually out there in terms of being in nature, and it's really quiet and calming. I mean, I love going for hikes. That's one of the things I enjoy doing, and so just being out there, just being in the silence a little bit is super calming, but also it's nice.
Well, that's a big tip too, and so there's a hybrid, right? Walking, running, hiking. I think it's all about your body needs wellness. It's part of the wellness program, right? You just have to realize we have to treat the body and the soul and the spirit and all of our energy.
Exactly.
Yeah. Runners, non-runners, get out there, try it. Yeah. If Jen can do it, and I can do it, you can do it.
You can do it. You can do it.
Yeah, and I think the thing is that the only goal is not like I'm running for a marathon. That's cool. But the goal would be like, this week, 2 times this week I'm going to run.
You're running for yourself, really.
Yeah.
You're not you're not against anybody. That's one thing too that I think the mindset that a lot of beginners tend to have is like you're trying to beat someone, but it's like you're not really racing anybody. It's like you're doing it for yourself.
Did you realize how strong you were because of running?
Over time, yeah.
I mean, I thought, I was a badass when I was running marathons, but also when I saw how much you ran, I was like, dude, she's a badass. It's really, because it's a level of commitment, but it's also, it's not easy to go that many miles.
No, it's not. I mean, I will admit there are moments where I wake up in the morning and go, I don't know if I could do this today.
Are those the days you should get up and do it?
Yeah.
I'm motivated. You got me motivated.
Do it.
I'm going to get off this podcast right now and go run.
Yeah, but I think that's all the tips I have for now in terms of beginner tips to get people started at least. I mean, if you're listening, if you have other tips you'd like us to mention on this podcast, let us know in the comments or email us at smalltalktuesday@gmail.com and we'll, make another episode of more tips. But for now, I think that will be it from us because as much as we love talking, we love you guys, but we think we're going to go for a run right now.
All right. I'm out. I'm going to run.
You going to run?
Yeah.
Yeah? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm like 50% sure I'm going to go run right now. I'm feeling good.
Good. But, so I'll see you guys next time. And Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts to check out previous episodes. But until then, we'll see you all next time.